So, do you remember how the 9 factors of the world is suffering can be defined easily by an equation? Happiness, degree or intensity of the happiness is equal to any desire fulfilled divided by sub-desires to be entertained, and that causes lot of challenges in the mind. The mind is full of those thoughts of desires, sub-desires to be entertained. Now I have a desire to buy a car. It's not a big deal. Which car? How much? Service to be included or not? You see, sub-desires. Now, did you apply this week? Every time your mind is in anxiety and duality and a conflict, it is because of those sub-desires. Mind is confused, ready to enter into the anxiety, duality, and the stress because of those sub-desires. We realize desires to be entertained when one desire is fulfilled. I have a home, desire is fulfilled, then we have many sub-desires, our needs to be entertained. I told you, it happens to everything. In the world, it happens to everything. There is nothing in the world that can escape this. My honey is very good, but now how to know those sub-desires? My honey is very good, but I got a good job, but I bought a house, but I'm explaining how the world is suffering. I got a job, but I like you, but I hate you, but we are going deeper into the journey of hammering the delusion. One more point today. All the sub-desires have a binding power. It binds me. Now I bought a house, what should I do? Now I have to take care of it. Binding desire. Every desire fulfilled, followed by the sub-desires, have a binding power. Binding means I am not free emotionally and mentally. There is no sense of freedom emotionally and mentally. So what I have lot of thoughts, that is why, because I'm not free emotionally and mentally, so I have lot of thoughts keep returning to the mind pertaining to the desire that is fulfilled or unfulfilled. So what are those thoughts? I'm fully busy. I'm upset. I'm not able to sleep. I have triggers in every situation, in every relations, in every person, and that makes my life worldly, not spiritually. Did you get it? I started with the understanding that these sub-desires have a binding power because one desire is fulfilled, I want to keep it. I want to hold on to it. So sub-desires are holding on to it. And because the sub-desires are holding on to it, I'm not emotionally and mentally free. And when I'm not free emotionally and mentally, lot of thoughts are welcomed by the mind. And what are those thoughts? I'm fully busy. I'm upset. I'm not able to sleep. I have a lot of things to do. I'm not able to complete it. think, think we are going deeper, my friends. We all are seekers. So those triggers are there all the time. Mind is not free. And when the mind is not free, you cannot succeed in meditation. Awakening cannot take place. So what happens now? They're going deeper, analyzing, understanding. So because I have sub-desires needs to be entertained, I'm not free emotionally and mentally with reference to what? With reference to the objects of the world. Object leaves, but impression remains in the mind. My faucet is not working, call the plumber. Okay, call the plumber. How much you charge? $200. Oh, such a small thing you charge. Okay, but I have to get it done. That impression is already in the mind. My son said me this thing, he should not have said, or my daughter. Then what happens? My son is good, but my mom is good, but what is the conclusion? Nothing in the world comes alone. What does it mean? The joy does not come alone, it comes with some sorrow. Pleasure does not come alone, or you fulfill any desire. The pleasure comes with the pain, likes comes with the dislikes, profit comes with the loss. Are you getting it? Marriage comes with, complete the sentence. Young age comes with the old age. Black hair comes with the gray hair. Think. So, what the conclusion our masters have drawn out, such a beautiful, penetrating. They were the par excellence professors and teachers. Harvard professors cannot match them. So, conclusion is this world has not a solitary, or the happiness is not alone. It is always in mixture. Where there is a pleasure, there is a pain. Where there is a profit, there is a loss. Where one desire is fulfilled, sub desires are not fulfilled. You have a tasty food in a restaurant in the morning, you have a diarrhea. What the master is pointing out, that the world in which I live, I have to become aware, sensitive, to understand there is nothing in the world that is pure happiness, that is pure pain, that is pure light, that is pure love. It is mixture. So when there is a mixture, there is a fear, there is an anxiety, there is an upset, there is a frustration. So I have to meet those anxieties. So those are the sub-desires. I'm still opening up the last session. In the last session we had amount or degree of the happiness is equal to one desire fulfilled divided by sub-desires needs to be, ought to be entertained. Without entertaining those desires, you cannot live. So the world is not a place for permanent happiness. Now, coming to the conclusion. Can I live into that state of awareness that this world is not a permanent, not a place for permanent happiness? And why? Because it is not the nature of complete pain or complete pleasure. So there is not a complete happiness. So what I see, there is not a complete pain. So my mind is constantly running in the world outside. That is the cause of my distraction, getting upset, frustration, fully busy, and that is the reason. So that nature of the world is suffering in which I am involved, in which I am engaged. That is delusion. That is delusion, and that causes lot of challenges in our life. So then the master asks, now do you understand? If the world is not a place where you can search the permanent happiness, then what else is left? Looking inside, going inside, moving inside, awakening inside. So did I leave the world? But another question comes. Oh, those masters have dealt this subject so deeply and with clarity. Should I leave the world? No. The entire world is a means to achieve the goal of life, that is self discovery. Nothing in the world should be the goal of life. They are the goals in life. Did you understand? They are the means. They are not the goal. So if they are not the goal, then what happens? Your ego drops. Whether you have a house or not, whether you have a car or not, whether you have a black hair or a gray hair, whether you are beautiful or not, belongs to the world. Your mind is emotionally and mentally free. Again, I'm repeating. The world is not a goal, they are the means. I need a car to travel to your house. I need a cloth to put on. They are the means. So when your mind is clear and you settle, your intellect settles in that wisdom that this world is nothing but the means. It cannot be the goal. And just now you think of that. Now find out what thoughts are coming to your mind. Thoughts are gone. That makes you upset. That causes you the problem. That causes you the anxiety. That causes you the frustration. It is gone. Here and now. Now it is very easy to understand why the master says the self-created world is suffering. And that because why it is suffering? Because delusion is there. I believe you all are getting it. But I have to apply that in my life. I have to apply. I have to live. I have to, in every situation, in my relationship, in my personal life, in my professional life, in my social life. So when you are living with this understanding, your mind is always free, naturally steady, naturally calm. You become a higher seeker, and when you become a higher seeker, the journey is easy. So every day you examine how many desires are fulfilled, what are the sub-desires that pops up in my mind, and what are these sub-desires which belongs to the category of a need, which do not belong to the category of a binding desire. Again, I'm going deeper. Sub-desires will always be there, either in the life of the Buddha or in our lives. So the Buddha drops that binding desires, binding sub-desires, and they say, oh, this is the need, let us fulfill you. Finished. So then the understanding comes, then what exactly is the desire that means? I'm constantly desiring every day in the morning for happiness and peace, love and the wisdom outside. Outside is the means, not the goal. So I have left only one desire to find the real self. I recognize, I understand, I live with that awareness that anything desired outside means the sense of incompleteness. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. We always chant that mantra. Think. Our master says that do you think and contemplate and reflect. Can you remind your mind about the delusion of seeking happiness, peace, love, truth, and wisdom outside in the world, which is incomplete by itself, which is a mixture. There is no chance of perfect, complete, permanent happiness in the world. Even if you marry the Miss World or Mr. World. No, just an example. Think. This is the so clarity, when there is an intellectual clarity by the practice of discernment and dispassion, what happens? The mind says, I'm looking for self-fulfillment. I'm not looking for desire fulfillment. See, I'm drawing a conclusion step by step. Mathematically, analytically, we are proving the mathematical problem. Majority of the mathematical problems given to the in middle and high school, the problem is there and the solution is already there. I have to prove. I told you in the last session. There is a problem in the world, solution is also there. Solution is always there. Otherwise, there should not have been any problem. I have to prove. And you prove by the journey of the Eastern wisdom. So I'm looking for self-fulfillment. When I'm looking for self-fulfillment in this situation, in this relationship, I drop the binding desire. I drop getting upset emotionally and mentally. We are still living in a relationship. You're still living in a relationship. But you have dropped those binding desires. Rohani says, why don't you listen? You don't get upset. It's a binding desire. If you get upset, it's a binding desire. Oh, he or she said, okay, let me understand it. Are you getting it? Say yes. Say yes. So what happens? Because you are a seeker, you initiate your state of the mind, initiate to move from the peace to peace, from happiness to happiness. Are you understanding this point? No. Non-seeker, which claims that this world will provide me permanent peace and happiness, because I'm unhappy, so I have to move from unhappiness to happiness while working in the world. For a seeker, he moves from peace to peace. He moves from happiness to happiness. Are you getting? Look at the idea, the thoughts passed on to by our great masters. Because now your mind is naturally focused on the self-fulfillment. You have understood the moment I desire happiness in the world, it is a delusion, it is a mixture. So now your honey says, what a crazy guy you are. So you don't get upset. Mentally and emotionally, binding desire is not there. Naturally, you initiate. It's a natural state. It takes time. Our life remains in peace. I told you, mathematical problem. This is why I explained this example. Mathematics problem and the solution is there. So I see the problem. Oh, what the heck? Why you said me that I'm crazy? Mental and emotional binding desire. You are seeking happiness from the honey. So honey should always say that I'm the best person. Not possible. I told you the word is a mixture. Are you getting it? Will you divorce? In that situation, for example. Will you escape from the problem? Think, think, think. A seeker who has now settled in a desire for self-discovery or self-fulfillment, not desire fulfillment, settled. You are living in the world, considering, claiming, declaring the world as a means to fulfill that. I believe you all are understanding. So what happens to that mind which was in delusion? Now we are a seeker, we have understood the world is a delusion. What happens to that mind? Think of it. Can you think of it? That mind says, I want happiness. When? All the time. In what location? All the location. In which relationship? In all the relationship. So you have no chance to get upset. For example, again, your honey says you are crazy, so you don't have a chance to get upset. This is a problem. Let me move from happiness to happiness. Honey, let me know what makes you think that I'm crazy. I will change. But you don't disturb your peace and calmness. You don't fall into the delusion. This is what I have been explaining in the first group. The entire world, the samsara, is suffering. This is what the Buddha says. Samsara is dukkha. Samsara is suffering. The world is suffering. Sansara is suffering. Are you suffering now? Listening to me? Because we are a part of the world. Think this is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. By listening, consistent listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, and the practice, your mind elevates into a higher consciousness. And you start realizing that there is something which the Eastern wisdom says is the real self, which is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. It is beyond this. Samsara is the suffering, and that we can get by second group. Do you remember the second group? Satsang. Sat means truth or real. Sang means company. The teacher who is well versed, or the teacher who is committed to express himself or herself through the teachings of the Eastern wisdom, becomes satsang. Have you seen that? We always talk of the real self, non-real self, cause and body. We are not at all concerned about your age or your understanding. You see, this 1 hour is very important, that our mind gets and feel that it is all about myself. That is why it is known as the satsang. So in the satsang, we challenge our false assumption and the wrong notions that challenges our life. We challenge our limiting belief. If you do not challenge, samsara is suffering. You start challenging mathematical equation again. So what happens in the very satsang, our mind discovers, oh, this is non-attachment. This is dispassion. This is steadiness of the mind. You get a flash of it. You get a moment of that by listening and understanding. So what happens? Your mind moves from delusion, duality to discernment and dispassion. That is the journey of ignorance to the wisdom. Now you are not trapped by the desire fulfilled divided by sub-desires to be entertained. That is another way to say it. You move from the false to the real self. And that is our second group. You have a commitment now. You have a natural commitment. You feel that there is a sense of commitment. Oh, commitment to what? Commitment to self-discovery. How? By self-inquiry. That completes our second group. Third group, realization. Now I have a realization. Oh, I was thinking I have to control my mind. I have to suppress my mind. Huh? I have to fight. I have to settle the score with others. They are all gone. They are dropped. You need not to worry about them. They are simply dropped. Remember this, if they are dropped, you are a higher level of a seeker. And if they continue to haunt your mind, no. You have yet to evolve into a seeker. So I said the third group is the realization. Now I see my mind is constantly living in the wisdom. There is a sense of emotional freedom instead of emotional dependence. There is a sense of intellectual clarity and understanding instead of an intellectual paralysis. Think, my friend. There is no proxy for self-discovery. If I have a debt, maybe some of you can pay the debt for me. But if I have to find myself, I have to eat the food. I have to eat through my mouth into my stomach. There is no proxy. There is no proxy for self-discovery. Oh, listen for me and then you teach me. Not possible. Realization. That realization naturally makes you commit to the journey of the self-discovery, because outer change is not required, you have already know. But I have never known how the inner change can take place. That is why I have to attend the session. Simple. Knowledge of the self, not the rituals alone, can bring the freedom. These short of realization comes to my head at the intellect, and that intellect passes on that knowledge to the mind, and then I'm committed to the journey of the self-discovery. So at a higher stage, I created the fourth group. Where is that fourth group? I told it it's a 4R. Remind, recognize, revise, repeat. Just a week ago, I said you start singing these principles of Eastern wisdom anywhere and everywhere. Problem is there, and you start singing in your mind. You return to that higher level of awareness, and the problem do not remain as a problem. You have solved the mathematical problem because solution is already there. How you solve, that depends on your individual personality, level of your evolution. But Master says, sing Gita. I told you that. It says, no, sing Gita. Sing Gita means that I am embedded. My mind is now married to these principles. I can recall at will, I can remind, recognize. Where I can recognize in the mode of discernment and dispassion, and I say, okay, that is the problem, and here is the solution. So that is why I said the Gita is a very important text. It's a daily life, that's what it serves as a playbook. So 4R, until the real self is revealed, my mind reminds me, look, here is the journey, here is the path. You have a strained relationship, here is the solution. You have the physical challenges, here is the solution. You get it. So if you contemplate and reflect, in the last session I explained you how the 9 factors are embedded in this equation, in one equation. Same thing, I told you the problem is on the left side, solution is there on the right side in mathematics. Now I have to prove. So that proving is your thinking, your contemplation, your reflection. Proxy will not work, my friend. Do you say sleep for me? Have anxiety for me? I have a lot of anxiety. Yes, close your eyes. Eyes are closed and place of the body, surrounding awareness. So you are aware of the immediate surrounding outside your body. That is only the space. You don't start looking at the items or the room or the house or the location. You see, that binds you. And the space which is nearest to me unbinds me. Position of the body and and the posture being comfortable. Now you see that because of that clarity and understanding, mind says, I'm comfortable, go ahead. Mind says, I'm carefree. Oh, thoughts are coming and going, it's okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And 2 sessions before, I said, Master says, sing Gita. So we have started singing Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Understanding is there in the mind. Then you have an emotional singing Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu to bring the emotional freedom. I'm giving another perspective of this. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Is it a journey from happiness to happiness? You said goodbye, world. I know you are a mixture. And mixture always brings the craziness. Oh, so I have to move from happiness to happiness. So I recognize happiness is the essential nature of every human being. Problem is solved. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Same thing. You can apply the same reasoning, cause and effect. I commit myself that I have to move from peace to peace. Why? I'm committed to self-fulfillment. I'm not committed to desire fulfillment. Do you see the explanation? Your mind will start thinking along these lines. The way I'm thinking for you. If we are a seeker. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Completeness, I told you, in the end, desire, fulfillment, because of sense of incompleteness, because I am unhappy, so I have to be happy by fulfilling some desires outside in the world, but the world is not the location for peace and happiness. Problem solved. No, though, should I escape the word? No, I should use the word as a means. I should use my husband, my wife is a means, my son is a means, my daughter, my house. I don't have a house, that is also a means. I have a house, that is also a means. Every situation, relationship, things, and objects is an opportunity for me to move towards the solution. Hence, I am moving from peace to peace, happiness to happiness, joy to joy. Otherwise, you already know. Word is stuff. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhav. That is why it is auspiciousness. Do you see? Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. So every day you recognize that auspiciousness. You have a pain, you recognize the auspiciousness. You have a pleasure, you recognize the auspiciousness. You have a bottleneck, you recognize the auspiciousness. Can you think, can you imagine of that state throughout the day, 24/7? Can we say, are we moving towards that awakening? We have to create that condition in our mind. We should not leave the next step looking deep inside the forehead in the space, and body is in the state of comfort and steadiness, and start breathing quick and short breath through both the nostrils into the chest. Expand your chest while inhaling and contract your chest while exhaling. I have to check. Now you are a higher seeker. You are checking how long the resistance do not enter into the mind while doing the breathing. Now you know the ways to endure it, and from endurance you move to the joy of doing. So it is because of the delusion we have this resistance, and gradually this resistance goes away. I told you that I'll be adding some more steps, but let us understand it clearly. So continue with that. You are enjoying doing the breath. In the beginning, it was 1 minute was difficult, then 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So when I endure, what happens? This is known as the austerity, penance. Penance is not that you're going to the Himalayas and standing on one foot, or walking on the fire, walking on the water, or declaring that now I'm enduring the abuse of my honey. You don't feel it is an abuse. You see that it is a problem. Continue breathing. Resistance, endurance, and joy of doing. And when there is a joy of being or joy of doing, first there is a joy of doing, and from there we enter into the joy of being, as if the mind and the body and the breath is doing its work, and I am totally separate from it. A glimpse, you get it. Internalization takes place. You have opened the gate, which is closed because of the world is suffering. Just enjoying. But you are enjoying here, and something is happening deeper inside you. Mind is rising into a higher level of awareness, into the higher state of dispassion, which separates your body, mind, breath from you. That is why there is a joy of doing. Just continue breathing. Expansion and contraction of the chest takes place with every inhalation and exhalation. Check joy of doing. Before that, endurance. Before that, recognition of resistance. I'm not resisting that you should not breathe. The resistance comes from within. And from where? The mind. Which type of the mind? That believes the world is the source of peace and happiness. It has created in the mind the world is suffering. Continue. No stop. If you stop, it means the crazy mind, the deluded mind has stopped it. At this stage, I'm just specifying at this stage of a seeker. Continue breathing. And stop it. You know, the problem is solved. You did 10 minutes. It can be done in the very beginning also, but we don't have that clarity of understanding. Looking at the flow of the breath now, you're just aware of the flow of the breath. In that flow of the breath through both the nostrils, you can also experience variety of changes and experiences in the body. So those who do not understand these subtle principles, they take it as a spiritual experiences, no doubt. But we have to go beyond it. Keep on, keep your awareness on the flow of the breath. They are equal. That is another way of joy of being. You are sure that yes, the mind is living within. And in that state, you mentally, you are dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments of the fingers. But what is the main point here? It's a mind's eye, it's a mind's speech, it's a mind's ear. It is not the physical sense organs. So we are educating the mind how to have a subtle perception. Why to have that subtler perception? So that we can have a perception and a recognition of the so-called real self. So this is a step in the practice of meditation also, and this is also a pointer. Oh, I have to learn this. I have to progress and perfect this before I can have a cognition of awakening and realization. And now moving the mind inside the cave of your heart, visualizing a triangle of any color pointing upward, dropping Om Shanti on each side of it. Triangle to check if the mind can easily move into that sync, and if it moves into the sync, Om. Now Om is done to push the mind deep inside the cave of your heart. To become aware, the mind seemingly stops. When it stops, seemingly stops, you drop the Shanti and you are absorbed. Now you are already into the state of doing nothing. But if the mind returns, it will someday it returns and someday it does not. It happens. If it does not return, you are good. That self-absorption. But that self-absorption is not unconscious, habitual. You are fully aware of that. There is another way to say it. You lose the objectivity of the mind. That is what the self absorption here is. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. And now we'll share our experiences. How are you, Samir?
Sir, it was very, very peaceful. And सर वो पीछे ना बाल तोड़ हो गया तो मैं ज्यादा देर बैठ नहीं पाता तो लेट जाता हूँ
ना ठीक है.
Yeah. It was like that all energy was flowing from my legs to my head.
Yes.
It was at later end of the meditation that something was flowing from my leg to my upper portion of my body. And very peaceful,
very good. It indicates an emotional freedom when the energy moves from lower to the upper limbs. Beautiful. How are you, Stephen?
Good, thank you. I have found that since Monday's lesson and this mathematical equation has had a major impact on me, and I did it from, again, we talked in the past about breaking pieces apart and trying to understand it. So I couldn't stop contemplating and reflecting on the numerator and looking at the numerator as the desire. And I go, so how do you look at this to solve this problem of eliminating the numerator or analyzing this numerator and this just based off of desires, and to take away the desire is to look at it from a necessity perspective. And then if you look at it from the denominator, you're now looking at it that all these sub-desires exist. So if you eliminated all the sub-desires that came with the desire, you come with a problem that can't be solved. So therefore it's impossible, because something over zero is impossible. So that's what started going through my mind and saying, okay, so that's why nothing can be, the world is suffering, and everything outside of me is not where the importance is, but where it lies inside of me. So it just put this into a different perspective. And I found that my meditations since Monday and sitting yesterday and Tuesday and yesterday and now today is completely absorbed in complete nothingness, blankness, and everything from the breathing. You said it somewhere in there that we were doing 10 minutes of it. I probably could have done it for the 30 minutes that we were going through it, because it is as if it didn't exist. It was just part of my normal routine. So thank you. This is great.
Beautiful. I appreciate the way you explain, and it brought me a couple of the thoughts. You see that when you continue to apply this equation in your daily life, this desire is fulfilled. Now you maintain your awareness, those sub-desires are going to come. So what is going to happen? Our mind will understand what exactly is the need of that hour. And when you understand the need, your mind is settled on the need, there are no sub-desires. Finished. But until we apply it daily, at every moment in our life, it is not going to happen. So beautiful sharing. That's really good. How are you, David and Jerry?
Good, thank you, sir. I just have to laugh at my friend Stephen's mathematical analysis of that whole equation. It's exactly what I was thinking too. I love it. So for me, it was, the first part, the lesson really had me realize that, we live in a society that does everything to take us away from true happiness, whether it's the media or the clothing or the cars or the homes or whatever. Society is pulling us away from true happiness, although they're leading us to believe that that is the happiness, which is false. So, kind of very aware of that. The meditation was extremely deep, and to Stephen's point, there was zero resistance to the fast breathing. It was great and very extremely deep until you started saying Om Shanti at the end. So thank you.
Beautiful. Our mind now recognizes how the world is a delusion, that the true happiness lies within. So it is not that I spoke about it, but you have a conviction inside. So when you have a conviction inside, the life moves from peace to peace. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. The 10 minutes of breathing was interesting because it led to a heightened awareness of observing the thoughts rolling by, but not just seeing them, not attaching to them at all. It observed the body completely relaxed. It observed the breath equal. So there was this heightened awareness and observation going on during that time. And then the meditation was just very peaceful. I love the idea of taking the love to everything, taking the peace to everything. When we live into that, then we don't see obstacles, we see opportunities. So the whole outside world is a university for us to evolve and share our love and peace and completeness.
The world does not remain as a delusion. The world becomes a means, and means is an opportunity to evolve. And one pointer that you said, I should emphasize on that. So when we do the breathing for a longer period, you rightly use the word, there is a state of heightened awareness. In that state of heightened awareness, that sense of emotional dependence dissolves. Intellectual paralysis is destroyed. That is what the state of the heightened awareness. And that can take us deeper. Beautiful. Sharing. And now, Dennis.
Thank you. I had contemplations similar to Stephen's about this equation and the formula, but my conclusions were a little bit different. So I also asked myself whether it is possible to have a desire without any sub-desires. And I think the answer is yes, because we can have non-binding desires like those that are needed to maintain our body, our living. Like the example you always give, that we go to the toilet and forget about it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have any consequences. And then we actually have zero in the denominator.
Yes.
And this is not always the impossible case, because even in mathematics, when you divide something by zero, in the edge cases you get infinity. And as the formula states that the result of the formula is happiness, we get infinite happiness when we divide non-binding desire by zero sub-desires.
Beautifully said. That is what I wanted to help you reach there, and you reflected on it, and you came out and you shared that. Yes, 1 by 0 degree of happiness, now it is the infinite happiness. Now what happens, the mind instantly becomes so sensitive that it recognizes this is a need and this is a binding desire. Binding desire is gone. When binding desire is gone, sub-desires have to go. It is zero. Beautifully said, Dennis. That's really good. And everyone should contemplate on that. How are you, Brandy?
Well, I'm not thinking about math, but you gave a prompt at the beginning of the meditation that I've been using, and that's just like the self check-in, asking like I'll be in the middle of my day and things will be kind of crazy, and I just ask myself, "Are you okay?"
Yes.
And it's arresting, yeah, I'm okay, and then from that point, I can move from piece to piece, and I think it also connects to your teaching about nobody else can do it for us. Like, I'm the only one who can check in internally and decide how that's going to go when the external is crazy.
You are right, Brandy. That's another perspective. That is how these texts were written by the great masters. What is this another perspective? That throughout the day you maintain your awareness in the moment the world causes the delusion, it results into anxiety, and then you ask yourself, now you start communicating to yourself through the principles of Eastern wisdom. Previously, we were communicating, oh, my mom and my dad this thing, my office did this thing. So I was still communicating, but that was totally a different communication. That was increasing my sub-desires. And here I'm giving a break. You give a break and you are free. It's a beautiful way of explaining. Again, how are you, Barbara?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for the lesson today. It was extremely enlightening. And thank you, Dennis, for your assessment of it, because that also was very helpful. I think another thing would be maybe to not have expectations of things, because if you don't have expectations, everything that comes to you is a gift and appreciated and not expected.
Beautifully said, Barbara. You see that why we have 3,000 texts, because one principle is explained differently. A master received a seeker and he asked the seeker, why you are late? No, I don't dare to say that, whosoever joins early or before. So I have an extreme headache. So the master slapped him. Master asked, do you know why I slapped you? No, I don't know. Are your legs okay? Yes. Is your stomach okay? Yes. Is your heart okay? Yes. Are your two arms okay? Yes. Are you able to speak? Yes. 1 out of 10. You have only headache. You should have reached in time. It's again a matter of awareness. How are you, Christina?
I'm good, thank you. I could feel a completely different change of state, from foggy and heavy and tired to completely light and clear. And I think, based on what Barbara was saying, the idea of maybe it's about how we respond to the sub-desires to come back to the real self.
Yes, yes, rightly said. So if I maintain my awareness of, these are the sub-desires and how I have to respond. So how you have to respond, out of 100 sub-desires, 99 are left. That is what happens. And it happens in a fraction of awareness. Beautifully. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So mine was calm. It was peaceful.
It was peaceful. Beautiful. How are you, Sangeeta?
सर बहुत अच्छा था सर। जैसे लाइफ में ना, डेली लाइफ में क्रेविंग खत्म हो गई है, कुछ मतलब डिजायर्स बहुत मिनिमम हो गई है।
Yes, her binding desires in the daily life has minimized. Yes, that happens. That happens. So and Terry, if Terry wants to say anything, otherwise it's okay. In the meantime, what you all share the experiences in a variety of ways, it's a pointer to the next step. And that next step is clearly mentioned by the Dennis, the infinite happiness. Degree of happiness on the left side, that is the equation. And I said desire fulfilled divided by sub-desires to be entertained. So 0 desires, sub-desires to be entertained, because there is no binding. That is what we are talking about. The real self is of the nature of permanent happiness. We feel that, we experience that. When? All the time, in all the locations. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We will meet again. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.